Alright, y'all. What up? Day 7. It's back day. I'm ready to get a workout in, man. So I realized yesterday, watching some YouTube videos, that I need to be a little more open with, I guess, as a self-improvement kind of thing, just the stuff I kind of go through, or I guess like how my day, stuff I went through in the day and stuff like that. But, I had one of those days, I kind of sat around at work, I didn't get good sleep, woke up at 4, and I basically just tossed and turned in bed for 2 hours until my alarm went off. I just felt like garbage going into the day. Get into work, I don't want to do anything, and I basically dragged tail on just about everything I did today, and I feel like kind of I feel like a fucking disappointment, to my coworkers and stuff, but to yourself. And I would say a big thing for me mentally, over the years, has been trying not to dwell so much on the negative. But you get into that headspace, and you get into those negative thoughts, and you let them dwell, and you think about them too much, and they just start going. So I don't really want to sit here and dwell on everything like that, but I just want to say, just about, it's okay to struggle. You'll have days. You'll have days where you don't want to do it, days where you don't want to do anything. Thankfully, I still want to work out. I think the workout for me is almost like a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm sure it is for a decent amount of y'all too. Just kind of where it's nothing mental, it's all just physical. There's nothing. It's just something where you can go and take the stress of the day out. And you come home and you feel good, you feel accomplished, and no matter what, you kind of finish that day off right. And I think that's also a very important discipline of working out. Excuse me. Of working out is the building of always having something you can look forward to. I know you really shouldn't you really shouldn't work out every single day. Realistically, your body cannot handle it unless you're on anabolic steroids. But if your body's constantly in protein synthesis and is constantly recovering, then clearly you can work 6 to 7 days a week. But especially as a natural man, you need to let your body kind of chill out and recover and reduce inflammation, so you don't build it up so quick. Because if you build it up too quick, you're not going to be able to go as hard for as many days. You can think about how that long term can hurt you. But sometimes a lot of the times, I wouldn't say a lot of the times, but occasionally, relatively recently, man, I've just been struggling to let myself record. I feel cringy, to be honest with you. I wasn't a very social person growing up, so not very used to being the spotlight there in that sense, but like I sit there and I record myself in the gym, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, am I big enough? Do I look good enough to be recording myself in the gym? And I try my hardest to not let those affect me, but it does to some extent, because you start the video and then you make eye contact with this, with a person, and you're like, hi, you're like, like, sorry, or like, I don't know if you notice, I don't talk very loud sometimes in my videos, and that's because I don't want people to hear me, or I don't want to say something and then people like laugh at me. But I push through it, and I hope that's a testament to you. But you need to just push through it. You need to try your hardest to push through it, because if you don't push through it, it's never going to change. You're never going to achieve your goal. You're never going to reach that point in your life, and you're going to look back and you're going to have those regrets. So if that can encourage you, you need to just do it, and you need to do it for a long time. Don't expect to blow up immediately. If you're going to do something like this, something like record yourself, but this is also a great accountability tool as well. But if you're too scared, socially awkward, don't think you're good enough, man, you just gotta, and I know, trust me, you just gotta not care. And trust me, in the moment, I care a lot. But I look back and I'm like, you know what? I get home, I start editing, I edit this video, or I compile this video, and I'm like, okay, I did it. Another day. I did another day. Let's go. And that's one more step closer. That's one more step up the stairs. That's one more day compounding on top of another of doing the thing that I believe in, and doing and accomplishing what I set out to do. And that helps me go every day. You think about it, I'm like, oh man, I don't really know if I should be recording. Which I can agree. I try my hardest to avoid as much people recording as I possibly can, because obviously it's, in some cases it can be, or some people aren't very okay with being on the camera, so you don't want to be like an inconsiderate guy. But you're like, oh, especially in my gym, there's just a bunch of steroid heads, and they're just huge. So you're like, am I big enough for this? Am I the right kind of person to be doing this? Should somebody else take this over? And that is where you stop, right there. Anybody can do it. And truly anybody. And I think I'm realizing that, and that's something that's kind of getting drilled into my mind. I listen to a lot of, we go on SoundCloud, Iron Within. Makes great like motivational videos. They're like 9 minutes long, like David Goggins, Greg Plitt, Jocko Willing, and the whole shebang of all the motivational speeches and moments and stuff like that you've heard, with occasional bits here and there inside of it. But I listen to those and I'm like, man, I'm the one self-limiting here. You know what I mean? A lot of the times, or 10 out of 10 times, you're the self-limiter here. And I was like, okay, well, I know that I can't let myself believe that I can't do it. You just got to be ignorant to the fact that it's very possible that you could not do it. But Lex Little, I believe it's Lex Little, I'm pretty darn sure, but he says, if you spend your whole life committing to something, do you really think you're not going to be able to achieve it? And another one I saw was Alex Hormozy talking about, you do it so much that luck finds you, not that you find luck. And I thought that was a great way to say it, is that if you have 500, 600, 1,000, or even 100 videos on the internet, it's bound that something, eventually you're going to be able to, it's going to hit somebody, So you just got to do it consistently, and you got to push through the times where you're like, man, I don't really know, I'm kind of tired, I'm 50 days in, and it's like, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if people really, I don't really know if I can, I don't really know if I want to. And the want is more of a self reason. I believe it's also Jocko Willink that says, if you want something If you want something, you'll do how bad you want something, you'll do anything to do it. And how bad you want something, it'll take anything to not do it. So it's like, if I want something so bad that I'm willing to do anything for it, then that is a good goal. But if you want something, or that's a good mindset, if you want something only slightly, then what do you think is going to take you to get off the path? You know, some guy waves a random thing, or, you know, you might have somebody just like talk shit about your video, and then you're like, okay, well, now I'm not going to do it. You know, I'm done. Like, this is it. And instead of pushing on, you know, take some advice. You know, there might be some critical advice that you might not like, that might hurt your feelings a little bit, but it might be good advice. You just need to, you know, and there's also, you know, keep in mind, there's also deep, hateful comments, because people just are like that. But you just need to push through, and you need to keep getting better and better. You need to try your hardest, and you need to become obsessed. If you truly want that goal, you need to be obsessed with it. If you aren't obsessed with it, you're never going to achieve it. Because to be obsessed would mean trying to push to be the best. You know, you may not want to be the best, which is completely fine. You know, you may not be capable of being the best, but you must strive for the best. You must strive to be your best. You know, maybe that's the right way to say it, is that you want to strive to be your best, maybe not the best. But if your best is the best you can offer, like truly the best you can offer, if you're only going 90% and you get 90% of the results, then that's your choice. But if you gave your best and you still got second, then you gave it your all. You literally, you gave it your absolute best. And second might not be a bad thing, you know? Especially if you're like a YouTuber, it's like whatever second might be, you know, you're only like a moderately high subscribed to viewed YouTuber. So now but like second, you're still going to make good money, and you're still going to be able to impact a lot of people, which is still great, you know, versus, you know, second in like a sports is a little different. You know, it's not, if you gave it your all, it's still your all, don't get me wrong, but it may not, you know what I'm saying, like you can scale the goal back. You know, you might get, second might only get a quarter of the prize winnings that first might get. So it's a little, you know, it's application based, but you kind of get what I'm saying. If you give it your absolute all, and you become a moderately respectable figure in your man, what's it called, in your area. Holy cow. In your field, there we go. Oh my goodness. Then you're still gonna make good money, and then you can still strive to be the best. You're always striving to be better and better, which will eventually compound. I don't know why I say compound to you becoming better. And a better version of you is always the best. You know, I hope that makes sense. I hope this isn't like a bunch of gibberish, but you know, I still struggle with feeling inadequate for a lot of the things in my life. I have very bad imposter syndrome when it comes to my job and my friends. You know, I always think there's no way, you know, I can't be, like, I'm terrible at my job. I can't believe I still have a job. I can't believe I work here. And I'm like, I can't believe these people are my friends. Or I might be like, no, they're not really my friends. They're just, you know, I'm just kind of like a placeholder. I'm just kind of like entertainment. I'm not really a friend. And I have these imposter syndrome moments, and it brings me into such a negative headspace. And it really brings me down. And you know, I can't say I have the absolute solution for imposter syndrome, but I mean, the only real way is to think you deserve it, you know, or maybe you are pretty good, or, you know, maybe they are truly your friends and stuff like that. But I mean, why waste your life thinking about it and letting it take so much mental space in your head that it affects how you move as a person. I realized it affected how I moved as a person way too much. And so what I did is I was like, okay, well, I gotta like not care that much. You gotta care somewhat, because if they are your friends, you're likely friends. But you gotta care because you're friends, truly. But if you're thinking in sort of an imposter syndrome moment where you're like, okay, well, I don't know if they're really my friends, I don't know if these people really like me, you just gotta think, okay, well, either they're gonna like me or they're not, because that's truly it. If somebody doesn't like you, I mean, they probably aren't gonna talk to you, and you're like, okay, well, then, I guess that's it. You really can't. I mean, I struggled with that especially as a teen, but I'm realizing as an adult, like, I really just have to not care. Everybody says I don't care as they get older, but that's, truly a thought process you have to have, is you just gotta not care as much. And, you'll care less and less the more and more you go. But, like, I feel this way, which I hope this doesn't discourage your faith, but at church, I feel like people don't like me. I don't know if it's because I carry myself in a way that I look like I dislike them, so they just don't talk to me or they dislike me. But a lot of the times when I'm at church, I have like 3 or 4 people that I truly like say hey and hello and hug and talk to, and then I have basically everybody else who kind of just like almost treat me like I'm, I don't really know what to say, but I don't really know what the right word is. But they kind of just brush over me. And it's something that still struggles me, because a lot of the times church is your family, but I'm like, man, half the time these people don't feel like my family. The people that don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about the people that are like the 4 or 5 people that I talk to, and I truly fellowship with them. But all these other people, I see so many people that are like best buds, and they're best buds with like the whole church, and then I'm just here. Some people, maybe it's just me tweaking, but I'm like, are they giving me dirty looks? Am I being a creep or like something? Like, maybe I messed this up, maybe I messed that up. And so I just start overthinking. I'm like, man, this sucks. So you just get into this headspace where it's like, am I truly the person, like, you almost think, am I a good person? Because you're like, everybody dislikes me. Or everybody seems like they dislike me. And you get into this nasty headspace, and you just got, like, the only way that I found that I'm able to avoid that kind of headspace is to just ignore it, almost, and to just live my life. And I stopped going to church for a while because I was just like, you know what, I don't want to be around these people. I just don't want to, I want to be at church, but I don't want to be like, I don't want to continue to see these people, and then they just give me like, or they just blow by me, or they don't want to say hi to me, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to bother. Like, and then my buddy, because I do media ministry at church, was like, hey man, like, I'm going to have to kick you off the media ministry if you don't, you got to be faithful to church. And I'm like, because I was still faithful to the jobs that because you'd be assigned service-wise. And I was like, man, ooh, this is legit. I gotta be better about this. And so now I'm like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna bother. Like, maybe that's not a healthy mindset, but I've gone to this church for 2 years. 3 years. I've been saved since I was like 18. So a little late, quite a bit late. And I want to say I tried to fellowship, but I don't know how much I'm looking back on that. And it just, kind of like, it never improved. And I was like, okay, well, and at the time my grandmother was here, so it just felt like everybody was talking to her, and I was kind of just like the side piece to like, hey, how you doing, bud? And nobody actually really cared about me, you know? Which might sound, I mean, I feel like that sounds very self-centered. And it probably is a little bit, but I don't know how valid those feelings are, to be honest with you, in a truly biblical sense. But now everybody's like, how's your grandmother doing? You know? It's not like, how are you doing? You know, what's up? But, man, this is trauma dumping. Is it trauma dumping? I mean, I'm just trying to explain to y'all, like, if you're going through this, you just have to, like, it's hard, don't get me wrong, because you probably care about what other people think about you. And it's hard to just completely ignore it. And I will say, I cannot completely ignore it. But I have dramatically reduced the impact it has on my mental. So I would really say, just try not to care too much. You know, like, obviously be nice. Do not be a dick, for lack of better words. Say yes ma'am, no ma'am, good, you know, say, like, how's your day? They say, how's your day? You say, good, how about yours? You know, reciprocate. But, you know, maybe go up and, like, because we have, like, a fellowship time, so we say hi to each other. So I'll walk around. I won't like walk around entirely, but I'll shuffle down my aisle and I'll say hi to everybody. I'll say hi to a majority of people. You know, don't be a complete hermit. But I mean, if people just don't want to give you the time of the day, then don't worry about it, man. Then just keep moving. You do you, dude. There's no need to worry about what other people think, what other people do. They got their own lives, you know. Everybody cares about themselves more than they care about others. A lot of the times. A lot of people are very self-centered. And I mean, there's no problem with that. Everybody has survival instincts, you know. Everybody has a life they need to live and stuff in life that they need to worry about for their life. So don't count it against them, you know. But, yeah, man. Anyways, it's freaking back day. I'm ready to grab a fat pump and then hit some cardio. And then be done and eat some food. I'll catch y'all in there. T-bar rows first. Neato. The goal's like 8, but let's see how it feels. Just realized I don't have music. Let's go. Fuck yeah. Whew. Alright, yo. 4 wheels. This is gonna suck. I have a feeling this is gonna be heavy, but 3.5 felt amazing. Hitting them for 8, but goal is always 6. And I go past failure there, but past failure might be 6, so we'll feel it out. But got the music, get her going. Oh, let's go. Whew. That's it. Pull it down to next. Alright. So, won't lie, T-bar 6 rep was pretty sloppy, but it felt solid. So, I think in the net benefit of that set will be felt. But basically that just means next week I'm going to do the same weights, maybe go a little higher on that first set, on that 3.5. But the second set, I'll do the same 4 plates, and then hopefully that'll just be a clean 6 rep, maybe a little more. So that'll be the goal. So then we get stronger and a little more control. I was able to get it, I believe, for a good 3 to 4 without super bad form breakdown. And then 5th one was kind of and then 6th one I know was like basically straight off. So that kind of, that's whatever. Overall, it'll still be fine. Nothing wrong with some sloppy T-bar sets. But looks like I gotta. Oh, never mind. It's over here. Let's go. Just got the basics. The basic old pull downs. Trying to get stronger. Trying to stay strong. But the freaking Just Fly machine's broke. All right. Whew. That felt solid. Even. That's been my main goal here. Is just evenness. Just trying to make sure everything stays even on both sides. So I always kind of struggle with that, especially form-wise. But the main goal is to be even, stronger, obviously, and more, and even. Kind of felt my shoulder kind of like tweaking out a little bit. I'm sure it'll be better as I increase in strength, but I upped the weight by just 10, and then I think I hit like 8 plus, give or take. I know I went pretty much to failure, so it won't be too bad. But I will do this for hopefully 6 plus or 6 flat, either one. I don't care which one, but as long as it's 6 or more. So, and I'll just go to probably as much failure as I possibly can, give or take. Like you really can't. Like there's some, I can't push past failure. I could yank the bar down and slow the eccentric or the eccentric. Sorry. So maybe do that. I'll kind of feel it out. But goal will be 6, and then from there, either go quarter, eighth, all the way down to 0 reps, or I'll go to like half, realize I'm failing, and I'll yank it down and kind of just control that concentric, or that eccentric, sorry. But yeah, man, this is cool. Feeling great. I'm really happy with those 4 plates, even just moving that for 4 reps. So far this week, the whole 2 days off has really reinforced it. Took Saturday off, Sunday basically off. I just hit core, like that's not really, it's not really a true workout. I had some cardio on Sunday. That's about it. I want to just do a full rest day, because Wednesday is not a full rest day. I am working, so I am physically active with my body, so it still is some sort of inflammation, which there'll be weeks where I work Saturday, I'll still have that sort of inflammation, so I might use Saturday as an active rest day, and then Sunday will be my full off day. So, you gotta kind of play around with it, especially, according to your work week. But yeah, Saturday fully off, Sunday active rest day, Wednesday active rest day, you know, that kind of thing. But 2 days off, 2 days off, and then active rest day. So I think it works out pretty nice. Strength obviously went up. You saw I hit 100s yesterday, so that was pretty nice for good reps. Today's strength went up. I think I only hit like 3 plates in a 25 last time for top set, maybe 3 plates in a 10. 3 plates 25 and a 10. Can't vividly remember. I know it wasn't 4 plates though. So I shot for 3.5 and went good for 8. Had some in the tank too, so that was the goal. And then 4 plates was a rough 6. I would call it more of a 5 with a cheat 6 kind of thing, but this feels good. 8 plus. And then, but let's get this one knocked out too. And then it'll be, man, what's next? Oh, wide grip rows. Nope. Nope. Whew. Oh my. That felt great. I think that was as well 6 plus. So overall good. Failure. Literally cannot pull it down anymore. So, but head it over to wide grip cable rows. Keep it moving. All right, here we go. 150. Oh. All right. Cool. Whew. Round 2. Oh my goodness. Whew. Yeah. So, to go ahead, I tested out 2 plates on each one, 4 plates in total. And I tested it and I was like, oh crap, I gotta do this as a set. So I didn't think to record it because it was gonna be a warm up. So I couldn't vividly remember what I did last week. But I knew it was somewhere in the 1.5 plus. Couldn't remember if it was a plate, a half, and a 10, or if it was 2 plates. But I hit 2 plates, and I was like, you know, kind of rougher form for 8, kind of forced it out. trying my hardest to squeeze at the bottom, just to kind of have the control of the weight. But I kept the same weight. I'll shoot for 6 to pretty much failure and see what happens. But I think this one might be a pretty stagnant exercise, but we'll have to see next week. Whew. Oh my god. Had to bring my arms into that, and I also didn't pull all the way down, which just means this weight's way too heavy. But go ahead and try it next week. Keep in mind this is post every workout, so back is probably pretty fatigued, but still feel good. My lats are sore, so I think we simulated it, but probably not in the way that I conventionally be okay with, you know what I mean? But we'll pose it up, take some progress videos, and keep it moving. And then from there should be cardio. Bumped it down to 1x. Front. Most side chest is considered a back pose, but I guess it's rear delts. The delts are popping. That basic. Look bigger than you are. Can't really think of anything else. Yeah, maybe rear double bar? I don't know. Maybe this looks like shit. But I guess I'll figure it out later when I look back at this. But alright guys, progress updated. I want to say I look leaner, but I really can't tell. You know, I'm so fat, it's hard to tell in between weeks, but yeah, man. Keep it going. Alright, I'm gonna go hit some cardio. I'll catch you. Alright, y'all. Cardio done. Back day done. Good day. Done. We won. You know, speaking back to the gym, I do get at the gym, or I think the amazing thing about the gym is that it's one of the controllable variables in your day-to-day life. And so I think it's such a vital component to building, I think this is what I was trying to say earlier, the discipline of enjoying the pain. Now granted, you know, to some people, working out may be a joyous experience even if they feel the pain, or if you don't feel pain, the right kind of pain. You know, you shouldn't have shoulder pinch pain, you know what I'm saying? But you feel that burn, that sensation, and you know that you're working the muscle. It's a great feeling. It's an accomplishing feeling. It's, you know, I guess it's what Greg Plitt may say is victory, you know? And if that's what victory feels like, then, you know, that feeling after a real good hard set where you push yourself to failure and you reach that goal and that muscle so much fatigue in that muscle, so much tear down that your muscle literally couldn't do it again. It's a very euphoric, it's almost euphoric. You know what I mean? Forgive me. Tired, you know, normal end of day stuff. Hopefully I can fix this, but my stuff's kind of tweaking. But, you know, it's almost a euphoric feeling. And, you know, I listened to this audio about success. Greg Plitt's talking about success. He talks about that feeling when you finally hit that home run, that feeling when you have a nice juicy steak, that feeling, you know, whenever you have sex with a woman, you want to do it again, you want to eat that steak again, you want to hit that home run again, you want to hit that game-winning home run again, you want to feel that success. And, you know, I look back and I reflect on my life, and I'm like, I've never felt success, you know, which is a crazy feeling to think. And maybe, and you know, I can't speak for myself now, but I can't speak for myself in the future, I think is what I'm trying to say. But I wonder if that's why I don't have the drive and the want, you know,